Good day, everyone. My name is Raimi Miriam Olabingbe, and I'll be taking you guys on constitutional sovereignty and parliamentary sovereignty. Before we discuss what constitutional sovereignty is, what is a constitution? A constitution can be defined as a document which sets out the framework and the functions of organs of government. What is sovereignty? Sovereignty basically means total independence. What then is constitutional sovereignty? Constitutional sovereignty is the supremacy of the Constitution over every other law. It is also the supremacy of the Constitution, which is the written and express will of the people. A supreme constitution is one that is supreme over the legislature of that country, in the sense that it could not be easily amended by the legislature. For the legislature to amend such constitution, the legislature will have to go through specific procedure. To understand constitutional sovereignty, you have to take note of Section 1 of the 1999 Constitution. Section 1, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution provides that the Constitution is supreme and has binding force over every authority and all persons in the Federal Republic of Nigeria. What does that mean? It means that no one is above the Constitution, irregardless of his or her status in the country. You should also take note of Section 1, subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution, which provides that any law which is inconsistent with the Constitution shall be void to the extent of its inconsistency. What does that mean? That basically means that whatever law that the legislature is enacting has to be in accordance with the provisions of the Constitution. The legislature cannot enact laws outside of the provisions of the Constitution. That is basically what constitutional sovereignty is. Also, in constitutional sovereignty, the people are supreme by virtue of Section 14, subsection 2 of the 1999 Constitution. This basically means that the people are the one that brings the government into power by voting, and if they are displeased with the actions or with the tenure of the government, they may not necessarily vote them in. Now we are going to be discussing on parliamentary sovereignty. Before we delve into what parliamentary sovereignty is, what is a parliament? A parliament or legislature is the body that is fixed with the duty of making laws for the country. Therefore, parliamentary sovereignty or supremacy is the supremacy of the parliament. The doctrine of parliamentary supremacy means the power of the parliament is unlimited by the Constitution. That is, the parliament is the most supreme in that country. This doctrine can be found in countries that operate with an orderly constitution, such as Great Britain. This just basically means that the supremacy of the parliament is absolute and no one can invalidate any law made by the parliament. So, what are the differences between constitutional sovereignty and parliamentary sovereignty? Constitutional sovereignty is practiced in countries with written constitutions, while parliamentary sovereignty is practiced in countries with unwritten constitutions. Another difference is that in constitutional sovereignty, the legislature is limited to the Constitution, while in parliamentary sovereignty, the legislature is not limited to the Constitution. In constitutional sovereignty, the Constitution is above all laws and legislations, while in parliamentary sovereignty, the Parliament is superior to the Constitution. In constitutional sovereignty, before the legislature can amend the Constitution, the legislature has to follow through specific procedures in order to amend the Constitution. While in the parliamentary sovereignty, the parliament doesn't have to follow through any specific legislature before amending the Constitution or even repealing it. So basically, constitutional sovereignty is the supremacy of the Constitution above all other laws, while parliamentary supremacy is the supremacy of the parliament above the Constitution.